Well, thank you so much. It's a privilege of being here, and today we are going to share some experience from the both of us applying this kind of technology, not only from the research field, but also from the practical implications. So, hi, I'm Dr. Sander Seilemaker. I have my own company. I'm doing research together with Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and about that work, what I'm doing, I'm also publishing at the World Economic Forum and share some thoughts about this topic. And I'm presenting today together with my friend, Tony Del Vecchio.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Tony Del Vecchio. I'm a researcher at BV Tech Cyber Lab, and also interested in gamification process by using natural user interfaces, and I'm also a consultant for wargaming platforms. So, Sander, please.
So, what we want to do today is have an interactive session with you and share some experience about cybersecurity today. And what we basically observe is cyber risk has a huge impact on society. And given that impact, it's going to move to the level of the management board. They need to take strategic decisions about the topic to protect their organization. And this is basically pushed by all kinds of legislation. However, this is really hard to do. Taking the right decisions at the right time at the strategic level for this topic is hard. So this is why we use this kind of technology like digital twin technology and simulation to help them advancing their decision making. And we want to share a glimpse of this experience with you together in this 45-minute session. So, why is it hard? Well, the first thing is the adversary is evolving over time, and ransomware threat is basically, for example, the #1 threat in the world, confirmed by ENISA, and over the last couple of years, it exponentially growth. You see some figures here. Cybercrime is basically the third world economy if it was a country. So this is huge, and even the future is basically expected that we, as a society as a whole, on a global level, we have hundreds of millions of exposure to this threat. So we need to do something. And then the question is, what are we doing today? Well, I like to refer to some research of Travelers Risk Index, and they show a really consistent view, in my opinion, in this area. And overall, they interviewed dozens of managers of large companies, and they basically say, well, 90% of them have really confidence in the best practices that are being implemented in the company. Well, that's good news. And 60% of them think, well, our organization will be hit by a cyber attack. That can be realistic. But if the same folks said, well, 50% of them lacks critical security controls, what we think is essential, and then I'm talking about multi-factor authentication, endpoint detection and response plans that you test, that's concerning. And what you see then is when we talk about small, medium-sized businesses, if they are hit by a severe cyber attack, there's a 60% chance they won't survive the next 6 months. And this is a little bit old in terms of that it has been discovered. There are no new insights, to my knowledge, in that space. And even when you're a large company, you have about a 25% probability that you're being hit by cyber attack. And 10% of this group will face multi-millions of losses. So this is not sustainable. And what you see, some of our governments think this is not sustainable. So there are now all kinds of regulation pushing cyber risk management to the boardroom. You need to take up your responsibility. And 2 examples of those regulation is, of course, our NIS2 regulation. But when you're in the US space, you have to cope, for instance, with the SEC cybersecurity rules. But managing cyber risk is hard. What is happening here? We are living in a digital, interconnected society, and we really depend on our technology and our business partners. And that basically makes a very strong cyber risk management strategy very essential to drive your business or organizational strategy in this space. But when you set your strategy, you have basically dozens of problems, because why? Your adversary is changing over time. Your people, processes and technologies are changing over time. the assets of your company are changing over time. Your suppliers are changing over time. So how do you ensure that your cyber risk management strategy copes with those dynamics and can absorb them? And cyber risk management is not the only topic that is on the plate of your board. They have shifting priorities, so they have to cope with a lot of strategic challenges. This is just one of them. And on top of that, there are emerging incidents you need to cope with this. What's problematic, if you don't organize this well, you can be hit, you can lose your trust of your customers, you can lose some of your reputation. Maybe you're hit so hard, you're losing your competitive advantage in the market space. And in the worst case scenario, you may find law and legislations of lawsuits to your company because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So my question to the audience is, how do you experience managing cyber risk? Is it an easy job to do? Is it a hard job to do? Does someone want to share his or her opinion? It's hard to do. Yeah, I can relate to that. Other opinions? It's hard to do? Why do you think it's hard?
Thank you very much. So it needs a regular review. The menace, traits changes from time to time, so we have to follow the tendency and so what we can add to our database in terms of traits, etc.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience. So we need to solve this, and this is where we think we want to apply digital twin technology and simulations. We believe it can make a difference. And now my friend Tony will continue with our session.
Hi again. So our answer is digital twin technology and simulation. Of course, training is the mindset that we have to accept, okay? And these two technology can help us very, very much to gain some experience in cyber risk management because they can replicate real-world corporate decision-making environments. So we can test in a secure environment what are our strategies about cybersecurity. And so we can enhance manageable foresight about our decision-making process, okay? And in BVTech, we are really proud to show what are the results about this kind of research applied to technology. So I want to show you this little video about BVTech and what we have done in collaboration with MIT and Sander in a specific way. Of course, I will come back after the video.
BVTech is one of the main players in the Italian ICT and cybersecurity market. It owns and develops platforms, solutions and services for digital transformation and the defense of critical infrastructures, data, and sensitive information. BVTech acts in Italy, Switzerland, Portugal, Germany, Sweden, UK, and the USA. BVTech and Cybersecurity at MIT Sloan joint research activities focused on cybersecurity education, ranging from technical to executive level, achieving relevant results. A cyber range extension for industrial control systems modeling and an inverse roulette collaborative management serious game. Cyber attacks targeting industrial control systems and critical infrastructures pose a particularly serious threat due to their potential to cause not only physical damage and safety risks, but also cascading disruptions to the supply of critical services. BVTech, in collaboration with Cybersecurity at MIT Consortium, developed a cyber range with enhanced ICS modeling capabilities, integrating IT and OT systems, and based on industrial processes dynamic simulation advanced capabilities. Board members are often not skilled in cybersecurity, but are called to make cybersecurity investments as part of a group process. Inverse Roulette is a collaborative management game that uses a natural user interface to leverage collective intelligence and enhance cyber risk management decision-making. Through this gamification process, board members can train themselves and improve their performance by shifting from a high-risk, low-profit to a low-risk, high-profit cybersecurity posture. The results also show that groups perform much better than individuals, and so through collaboration, a better understanding of cyber risk management can be achieved, leading to a realization of the value of investing in cybersecurity. Inverse roulette boasts a growing acceptance in the scientific community, with 2 scientific publications completed and more coming. It has been presented at the University of Bari, where it was successfully accepted as a tool for training on cyber and to Italian and European companies for executive cyber training.
Thanks for your attention. So you have just watched this video in which we presented cyber range and inverse roulette system. This is the starting point. Me and Sander started for last 2 years now, and we started thinking about board members in a company. They are very heterogeneous group of people because they have different knowledge. They are some are businessmen, operational. They have a financial perspective about the problem. A lot of them don't know what about to think about cybersecurity. A lot of them still think that cybersecurity is a cost. Now we want to break this idea, and we can do this because although they are not highly skilled in technology, with some of this technology, digital twin simulation and serious gaming, we can improve their knowledge about cybersecurity, and also they can understand that cybersecurity must be considered as a crucial process in the business planification for a company. So I think you all know about cyber range. Cyber range, you already watched it in the video, is a virtual environment designed to simulate real-world cybersecurity scenario. We adapted it to test new technology. For example, to test SCADA system in order to check if there was some critical path into the industry process, but we also enhance security readiness about people that are going to use the system, because you can simulate some alert, as we have done into the video before. And when you replicate world system in a controlled environment, you can learn how to have your behavior in the case of a real attack. Okay, so it's very important because you can both use this for physical support and also an automated control system. This is a complete IoT simulation integration into this virtual scenario. So you can use it both for real system and also for the simulation one. By other hand, as you saw before, this is the inverse roulette system that me and Sander proposed last 2 years. This is how I was saying before, a collaborative approach to cybersecurity for people that are not skilled in cybersecurity. Okay, and through this game, they start playing. They start using this game. They learn how to manage cybersecurity. How this is possible? In this game, you saw the carpet of the roulette. Each of from 1 to 36 points are vulnerability of our company. We can prevent attack in this area by using 15 of the cybersecurity measure that can mitigate measure. For example, if you bet in the blue area, you are preventing some threats in cybersecurity. This vulnerability, you don't know. You have some vulnerability, so you can use detection measure that are in yellow. In this way, the system show you which are your vulnerability, and so you can use some of response measure to mitigate it. The response measure are those in purple. By using this for 5 years of business management, people arrive to a performance index. That is the balance between the accumulated profit in 5 years and the total number of systems that are at risk or are compromised. So you are able to find where is your defensive posture. Okay? If you are in a defensive gap, for example, it means that you have low accumulated profit and a very high number of total number compromised and system at risk. So you have done very bad from cybersecurity point of view. Okay, always people start in that area. Okay, by replying the game, for example, we play it by 10 times. People start to mitigate their defensive posture. And we notice that they move from another area, okay? Of course, we now know which are those green arrows that must be used. People that are playing don't know yet how to manage this situation. And at the end of the simulation, we notice that a lot of people arrive to balanced behavior. In particular, people that worked in group, because this was one of our points. We want to show that by using this kind of game for people, 3 persons that are skilled in a different topic, not in cybersecurity, we can leverage the collective intelligence of people, and they are able to arrive in the balanced behavior. We test this system in 2 scenarios. The first scenario was the certain scenario. That it means that for each of 10 repetitions of the game, the scenario was always the same. This means that people always face the same scenario. So they learn after some iteration how to manage the cyber risk. Okay? And so you can look at here. In red, it is shown the results about groups. In blue is shown the individual results. You can say in a certain process, groups perform very, very much better than individual process, both in accumulated profit and system at risk. When we pass in uncertain environment, in an uncertain scenario, when the threats and the attacks changes year by year, things start to become very, very difficult. And although we have an improvement, this improvement for groups members start only from the 7th iteration of the game, not before. This means that learning in an uncertain environment needs time. So it's very, very difficult, as Sander was saying before, to manage cybersecurity, because the uncertain environment is the real environment. We don't know when we will be attacked. We don't know the magnitude of this attack. We don't know where it comes. Maybe our strategy has thought about defense some point, but we are lack for the other point. So this means that we, with this system, again have an improvement. But this improvement needs times. So you can see over there, individual players have a very diffuse pattern that this suggests is a very hard learning effort. Okay, and there are multiple ways of learning, of course. In the case of group members, we have always a balanced behavior in the end, but it takes time. Okay, now Sander will continue.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony. And what we basically do with this kind of technology, we used it with hundreds of executive board members, with policymakers, with strategists across the globe. And Tony gave a practical example how this is used in business, but we're doing more with it. We use this technology to do strategic assessments at Fortune 500 company. And also we are starting to do a project together with the Dutch National Healthcare Organization called ZCert. and together with the European organization called the EU Health ISAC. And we want to use this technology to strengthen cyber risk management in healthcare sector and in the hospital sector, and basically training board members for this purpose. And for the remaining of today, I want to give you and share with you an experience where you can participate in the most simple form of this technology. And what our basic assumption is in this simulation approach is organizations, what they drive in the terms of processes depends on system. And at the beginning, we perceive that systems are not at risk, but over time they become system at risk. Just to give you a very simple example, you get a message that there's a certain vulnerability being detected and that requires patching. At that stage, with that knowledge, a system that was perceived to be secure became a system at risk. And if you don't patch, you don't solve it. And after patching, your system becomes not at risk anymore. This is an example how those dynamics work with prevention. If you use detection and you know a system that is at risk, you can anticipate and solve the problem. On the other hand, if an adversary knows your system is at risk and attacks it, with detection you can respond to that attack. If not, that system will be an affected system, and then the real world problems basically become visible. Only affected system cause significant problems, and then you need to recover and solve this problem. This is the dynamic what's happening in the system. This is what we put in the simulation. So I want to play with you a very simple simulation. You can connect to the simulation by any device you have using the Wi-Fi. I will explain later how you can connect, but first I want to explain through a video how the simulation works.
This is the screen of the simulation exercise, and in this exercise you will be the CEO of a virtual company. Your objective is to maximize your profit over a 5-year period, and we will play this game in competition. You can set your budget in cybersecurity capabilities to defend your company against a ransomware threat, and I will demonstrate how the game interface works. First, you need to decide what percentage of your IT budget are you going to spend in prevention, detection, response and recovery. And now I will set an investment proposal to invest 3% in prevention, detection and response per year. Like this. And now I will progress the game for 12 months. Since the results of my strategy are visible in terms of profitability and compromised systems, I can re-evaluate my choices and change them like this if needed. And continue playing for 5 rounds. Since I'm very confident with my strategy, I will not change them and continue playing for the full 5 rounds like this. As I observe the results, I want to try another strategy to yield better results in my accumulated profit. So I reset the game, and now I will try an alternative strategy where I invest 3% per year per capability, and I include recovery. And let's run this strategy for 5 years. These are just 2 examples, and now you can experience the simulation by yourself.
So now you can experience the simulation by yourself, and to do that you need this flyer. If you don't have one, you can ask Tony to join. And you see at the back encircled number. This is really important. So to use. You can either use the QR code or the link visible at the screen to connect. You will connect to a platform that is also used by many great universities like Stanford, MIT, Harvard for simulation training. We don't record any of your information. And you will see a log on screen. Your user ID will be capital P with the number on your flyer, and your password will be FIC at 2025. And I want to play this first exercise together with you, so you can choose in the simulation any strategy you want to choose, but you have a limited resource when it comes to prevention and detection. You're not allowed to spend more than 3% over there. And just find an investment strategy that provides results you like. And please remember this strategy. We need it for later. We play no more than 5 minutes. And over a few minutes, I will ask you to record your final strategy. Can you... wil jij van de mensen flyers geven? Het zijn andere mensen die proberen in te loggen. Share them. So people who don't have a flyer, my friend Tony will give a flyer to you so you can participate. If you are able to connect, you can use the simulation, and you just need to select the sliders to an investment strategy you want to run, and then click on the button Run for 12 months. Are you able to access? Yes. Okay, you can play the simulation, make a selection and run. You have 1 or 2 more minutes. Nothing. So please start to record your strategy. I want to continue within 1 minute. It's about getting a little bit about the experience with the simulation. Yeah. Perfect. So let's reflect on some of your strategic choices and experience. Who was able to acquire a profit more than accumulated profit over the 5 years of more than 500 euros? Please raise your hand. No? More than, what did you achieve? 513. What was your secret? So we had 513 focus on detection and response. Okay, I want to share, thank you for sharing. I want to share some insights you can acquire with the simulation. And these insights are basically principles you can apply in real life decision making. And this is what we do, for instance, with executive training and strategic assessment. This is the example and one overview which you observed in the video. And what you basically see is there's a difference of what you see in the graph is over a 5-year period, the behavior of the profit of this virtual company. And besides the graph, you see the total accumulated profit over time. And the first strategy is basically about investing in prevention, detection, and response, generating a huge loss. And the second one, is about investing 3% per year on average in prevention, detection, response, and recovery. And what you see here is that recovery is an essential capability when you need to combat ransomware. It makes a significant difference. And when we talk about recovery, it's basically the ability to fix the problem in a sustainable way, but also when you're not able to deliver your business processes, you find alternative ways to deliver your products or services to your company, to your clients. And what you the significant difference here is that recovery reduces the time to solve the problem, and when you're in the process of solving these problems, you're already able to deliver some of your business to your clients. So recovery helps to maintain revenue generating capability, and it significantly lowers the time needed to become up and running again. A second example I want to share with you is basically having this strategy in place where we continuously invest. What you often see in reality is that companies says, well, we are a little bit under pressure with our budget. We can do it the next year. So what we did here in the simulation is basically having the same amount of budget, but just investing it in the red scenario after a 2-year delay. So investing 5% per year in all the capabilities in year 3, 4, and 5. And what you see here is there's a huge decline in profitability in the red scenario. And that can be explained for 2 reasons. One, the company is hit in a situation where their security capabilities are lacking compared to what they need. And they need a sufficient amount of time to solve this problem. Why? Building your security takes time. You need to think how to secure. You need to design it. You need to hire your resources and build it. And rolling out takes time. So what it basically means is if you do something less in the past, you can't make it up in the future when it comes to investing in cyber risk management. And this is the last insight from the simulation I want to share today. There are many, many options. But this has to do with the fact when you're combating ransomware, you need to limit the spreading effect. So we compare 2 strategies. The blue one is basically about investing 3% per year in prevention, detection, and response. And when we are hit, we will pay the ransom and try to continue. The alternative strategy we compare is we investing in prevention, detection, response, and recovery. But now we want to do more on network segmentation and anomaly detection. And in the simulation, this reflected by additional investments in prevention and detection. What you see here in the graphs, in profit and in compromised systems, this is a huge, significant difference. Although when you're paying the ransomware, it might show a nice graph of profitability, it's very unstable. And it is unstable for 2 reasons. One, you're paying the adversary. They have a customer who is willing to pay. And if you have a customer that's willing to pay, you'll continue your services. So the attacker comes back again. And what you see, if you pay the ransom once and you'll get your key, there's an 80% probability you will be hit again in the next year. Why? Well, they try already to include some backdoors in the key they provide you to solve the problem. So they're preparing for the next attack. The year thereafter, there's a 40% chance you will be hit again. Even if you pay the key for the key and they give it to you, it doesn't guarantee success. There's a 62% chance you don't get all your data back. So that situation, you still are faced with the fact that you need to recover by your own. When you're investing in network segmentation and anomaly detection, you limit the spreading, but also you limit the compromised systems. Paying the ransom, you don't improve your security posture. So you have a short-term fix, but the problem is your systems are still at risk, and that will be exploited by the adversary. So what we learn here is when you invest in cyber risk management and you have a good strategy in place, it provides flexibility towards the dialogue, whether you want to pay ransomware or not. So, having had these insights, I want to go back to the simulation exercise again. Now, pick your strategy again, you choose, but the same strategy that was the best you did before this time, you take that strategy and you add 1.5% to both prevention and detection. And then, you're welcome. Okay. Who was able to do better? Yeah? Who was able to do better? We have one person here. You did better? How did you? No? Because of time, I want to continue. We have some of us who did better and some of us we had worse result. What we usually do with this approach is what we did together with the group. We had some insights with some possible strategies and what the effects are. We run this with 20,000 different agents to explore the opportunities of good strategies versus bad strategies. And these are the graph, what you see for accumulated profit, and doing this analysis with 20,000 different decision makers with the same challenges you faced in the simulation and with different perceptions and different backgrounds. And what we observe is when investing in network segmentation and anomaly detection, 95% of these investments have a potential to reduce potential losses by 50% and increase profitability up to 100%. 5% that does not provide these results. Why? You're likely in the area of over-investing in cyber risk management. So for today, digital twin technology and simulation helps your company prepared readiness. It provides in different formats with different interfaces a strategic replica of your organization. And by having this replica, you can receive heuristics that strengthen your decision making. It shows the effects of future decisions and how it affects your organization. With the game we played, you have a 5-year outlook how your decision making results will evolve over time. This is a safe environment to explore what kind of strategies and scenarios will work and won't work in the future. And that's really helpful because if a scenario in the simulation goes wrong, you restart the computer. In reality, you can't restart your business. So this makes a significant difference. And these approaches in different forms are used at many organizations for the purpose of education, raising awareness, roadmap design and strategic assessment, and particularly calculating the shelf time of cyber risk management strategies. So if you want to know more about the research, you can connect with me. I'm here, I'm in the app, I'm on LinkedIn. If you want to have some practical insight how this is applied in reality, you can connect to Tony as well.
If you want, we can also share a QR code to play inverse roulette here.
So, are there any questions? Oh, you're from Mike.
I can come to see you if you have some questions. The first one is always the hardest one, okay? But then, this is the moment you have 5 minutes to ask any questions you want. I think they are professionals now. thanks to you.
Well, we are
Thanks.
happy with this contribution.